Ground level theology, breaking it down, making the complex simple. No need to frown, bringing the wisdom from the tower to the street. Making theology enjoyable for everyone we meet. No need for big words, no need for fuss. Ground level theology for all of us. Exploring the depths, unraveling the mysteries, taking on a challenge, simplifying histories. Ground level theology, oh yeah, making sense of the concepts, loud and clear. No need to be a scholar, no need to be elite. Ground level theology, making it sweet.
And we are back, folks. Welcome back to Ground Level Theology, where we're always punching back. With me, as always, is the co-host of Ground Level Theology. It is David Hoffman. Dave, welcome back. Amen.
I had the Tiger playing. You know what I'm saying?
Yup. Yup. I
Got a
feel
good
it,
one.
man. We got a good one today. We are talking about boxing. We are talking about boxing. Should we even be watching it? Dave, did you see that Tyson fight? Tyson versus Jake Paul. 58-year-old Mike Tyson takes on
Mm.
a youngster, and it is on Netflix for free. Wow.
What? Mm. You know, like I just like put it in perspective. It's like my younger brother fighting my father.
Yeah,
Like
with a little bit more of an age disparity.
that, that, that's what I mean. And I'm like, I, I did watch the fight. I
Yeah,
watched the fights that
same.
led up to it as well. And I kept thinking, I was like, this can go one of two ways, but either way, it's a lose-lose for Jake Paul. That's
Yeah.
what I thought. I'm like, it's a lose-lose. Either you lose, and it's like you lost to a 58-year-old man out of his prime. You win, and you still lose because you just beat up a 50-year-old, 8-year-old man
I
out of
know,
his
right?
prime.
That
like,
that was it was so true. I mean,
like,
it's like even if he beats up Mike Tyson, wins, you beat up an old man. But if you lose, right? Not only did you lose to a 58-year-old man, but that also there goes your boxing career, right? Because it's like the thing about boxing that people don't understand is the only thing that people care about are undisputed boxers. It's the
right,
moment that you lose one, you're nobody. Now, no one wants to see what you got going on.
I could pay for that.
Yeah,
And I, and Amber, my wife, she was great. She was like, David, what everyone wants, what everyone wants to see happen, it's not going to happen. And I'm like, really? And she's like, and this is why I love my wife, because she's like, I'm watching this fight, and I already know it. Mike Tyson's gonna come out, nothing flashy, no gimmicks. He's just gonna be, stone cold. And then you have Jake Paul with his, you know, Chevy and all these things, and and Amber's like, everyone's gonna want it. It's gonna be like Apollo Creed coming in all flashy, and then Dolph Lundgren just boom, just
right.
done. And Amber's like, that's not what's gonna happen. And I was like, well, you don't know that. But now,
Yeah.
again, my wife's always right. You heard it here first, folks. My
Well,
wife's
let's put
always
this on
right.
the table. Let's put this on the table first. Before having even seen the match, leading up to it, the day of, hour of, right?
Hmm.
Before the Netflix specials start. You're
Right.
talking, you know, 4:59. um,
Okay.
what did you think? Who did you think was going to win and why? And I'll go ahead and start this one. I won't give my reason. I'll give
Oh,
it
okay.
after.
Okay.
Um, that way you can go ahead and say yours. But
Sure.
I thought with all my heart, in certainty, Mike Tyson was going to win.
I thought that. for certain too. But
Yeah?
and
Okay.
I want to know if our reasons are the same.
Okay. Here's why I thought Tyson was gonna win for sure. Watching the footage of his training, he was fast, he was agile. The coaching that we were seeing was smother Jake Paul. Um, his head movement was good. The only thing I was worried about was maybe that was for show. He didn't look very cut. He looked a little bit flabby. Um, but I couldn't deny the agility. I couldn't deny how limber he was moving. And um, I'm a guy who believes there is a such thing as old man strength. I think that's kind of a fact. It does go out at a certain point, but he seemed to be displaying that. And so what I was seeing from the footage of his training videos, I was like, he may not be as fast, and he may not be prime Mike Tyson, but he's going to be a slower, but still hard, not as hard hitting, but still hard hitting um, Mike Tyson. And an old Mike Tyson is going to be probably better than um, a decent boxer. And so Jake Paul is going to have his work cut out for him and maybe even get knocked out. That's what I thought. What did you think?
I thought, uh, I don't think Jake Paul's a great boxer. I think he purposely does fights that he knows he's going to do well at, and then compensates them well for
Yeah,
fighting him. Uh, and I thought Jake Paul's younger. Mike Tyson might be slower or older, but I thought he was going to win because, like, I don't think he did this match for the money. I think he wants to like just be like, I'm. I want to punch you. Like
yeah,
I thought he was going to win because just like I didn't take this match for popularity. I already had it. I'm not taking this match. I knew all along both parties are going to get paid. They don't do anything if they
right.
don't get paid. You get something even if you lose. I knew that, but I'm like, I don't think Mike Tyson's fighting for the money. I think he wants to show the world that like I can beat a young kid in their prime at 58
Yeah, that's
because
I
I'm
thought
Mike
that
Tyson.
too. I thought Tyson was like, I'm happy to have the opportunity to get back in the ring.
Well, and that's what all the build because because they have to promote it. That's what the promoters do. It's
Right.
and they have to do a ton of promotion because it's not pay-per-view. It's not like a normal fight where you pay to watch it. It was
Yeah.
free on Netflix. And so you have to find other ways to promote it. And so it was one of those things where I was like, the way they're talking, the way this is getting promoted, like, and he sounds like same old Mike Tyson. The only thing on he's like, you know, like I want it to be like Apollo Creed, Dolph Lundgren. Like I would
Yeah.
fear for you. I would fear for my life if I was Jake Paul. I'd be like, wow, what a way to go to glory. I got knocked out by Mike Tyson. Like he's not going to glory, but anyway, but you know, what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like what a way to go.
Right.
And then spoiler, like
Oh, yeah, man.
it didn't happen.
There was so much to that fight. Is there was there any Okay, so before the fight even started, so before round one, was there anything that maybe made you second guess? Because there's something for me, and I don't know if you held that the
There's
entire time.
something for me. There's something
Okay,
for me too.
what was
I think
that?
it's the same. Well, if it was my wife, she'd be like the backstage interview with the jockstrap. But for
Yes.
me, but no, but you know what mine was? That was kind of
What?
crazy. Mine, when he was walking, like when he got announced and he was walking in with his knee brace, and I
Oh,
care
yeah.
so much about a boxer's footwork. It
Yeah.
matters so much, and I'm like, that's his dominant leg. Like a knee brace doesn't mean that it doesn't mean you can't do anything. It already tells me you are a 58-year-old man. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I would love to be able to take off my shirt like Mike Tyson did as a 58-year-old man. I know that's not going to happen. But Oh, but that's the big thing for me. Not even the
Yeah.
backstage interview of like death, but
let's
the knee
let's
brace
come
doesn't
back to
scream
that
death.
in a sec because I think that's going to be huge. Um, with the controversy that comes after that, I want to cover that, and then I want to go into
Okay.
a deeper topic than just Tyson and Paul. But yeah, so I felt confidence at the weigh-ins because when he took his shirt off, he had a six pack, and so I was talking about earlier, he was a little bit flabbier when he was doing his mobility, and he was, he was boxing real well. When I saw him with a six pack, I said, "Oh, he is coming
It's gonna
for
mess him up.
blood."
Right.
Like he is fit. The thing that made me second guess, and I said, I'm not sure this is going to be a real fight anymore, was that incident. And for those of you on Spotify and on YouTube that maybe haven't watched this, there's a moment in an interview. They were interviewing both of the boxers, Jake Paul and Tyson, before the fight, leading up to it, maybe like an hour before. And Tyson's was sort of a skit, right? I mean, he was talking about whether he's ready, and he answers the question as he's walking away. I mean, he's pretty much naked, and you can see his butt. And I'm like, that was set up. That's staged. That's supposed to be a funny thing. And I'm thinking, if there's some sort of a if he's not in the zone, this isn't really a boxing match. He's just doing it for the money. And so when I saw that, I'm like, this boxing match is a joke. And so that was the first thing there. I was like, okay, maybe we're not actually going to see what I think we're seeing. And
Yeah.
and that's why that tipped it off, because this was sort of like a WWE thing, right? It was sort of like a skit where there shouldn't be. I mean, if you're talking to the star quarterback, and it's game time, he's not going to be out there joking around and stuff. He's going to be trying to get his head straight and in the game so he can be prepped. Mike Tyson is about to have the biggest fight of his life, in the sense of this has been the only fight of his life, coming back from retirement. It's the most important thing in his life right now, and here he is doing a skit. What is going on? So I that's the point at which I thought, okay, I don't think we're gonna get what we're coming in for.
Yeah.
Um,
I,
Go ahead and
well,
say what you're
I
going
honestly,
to say,
especially
but
because like when you
yeah,
if you were able to watch the first two fights, I'd say where the competitors were really trying.
yeah,
Um, very very different,
yeah,
very very different. When you sorry, it is a little gruesome. Gruesome. It's the nature of the sport.
right,
Okay, it's what happens. Uh, it's bad. It's actually bad. It means you didn't land any punches. You didn't do anything at all. If I see the first two fights, okay, man, those dudes, yeah, they kind of bloodied each other up pretty good. Okay, ladies, man, even the lady, like, I'm surprised she still sees out of her right eye, her left eye. Uh, no one bled with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul.
oh,
No,
no one got a
no,
bruise.
no one got a bruise, and it was concerning to me because okay, Mike Tyson's old. Okay, well, fine, go hard the first round. Oh, okay, maybe you got to pace yourself. I get it. It's a lot of rounds. There's a lot of
Yeah,
rounds. Maybe he's pacing himself. Well, okay,
I was
fine.
doing the same
Well,
thing.
how about by round four? We're halfway through.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I'm like, oh,
And
he's
then I was like,
fatigued.
maybe he only has 2 rounds left in him, so he's gonna rope a dope until the last 2 rounds, and then
Yeah.
bring it out.
But and so it kind of, yeah, it was frustrating to see because it's like Mike Tyson didn't even fight like an old Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
He fought,
All right.
yeah.
Let's get into this real quick. There's controversy coming from this. Everyone is saying it's rigged. Of
Hmm.
course. I mean, from what we're talking about here, he wasn't even he wasn't even ready to fight. Um, he ended up in the hospital. He said it's like he almost lost his life, all that stuff because of an ulcer. 6 months before, people are saying he wasn't even ready. Um, he just came into this. Some people are saying he held back, and he wasn't really fighting because he couldn't hurt Paul, otherwise he wouldn't get his money. People are pointing out that the loss actually gave him more money, so he was. People are speculating on why he was biting his glove. He said it was a biting fixation. Some people are saying maybe like,
A
he was
cue or
biting to
signal.
hold back, or yeah, or signaling. And some people are saying Jake Paul was telling Tyson things, or other people were signaling that Tyson to stand back. What do you think of the whole thing? Like, he, I Tyson has recently came out and said he wants to fight Logan Paul, or he wants to do other matches. So he's actually talking about continuing his boxing career. What do you think about this whole thing? What happened that night, and then your assessment of Tyson and where he's at?
Um, hmm. Like I just know, like I understand toning it, like when you get older, you get more mature, you tone things down. But like you have to remember, like yeah, like we were young, like we grew up like the late '90s, the early 2000s. Like I remember watching him fight, and I like remember seeing a dude, and I guess I know that was Mike Tyson in his prime, but like the dude that would have interviews and talk about how he would cry before matches because like he knew he was gonna really hurt the other person. Like I would cry like I like I'm sorry, little girl, I'm gonna hurt your daddy really bad.
Yeah,
And he's gonna like come home to you and not look like daddy. Like that what happened to the Mike Tyson that bites the dude's ear.
yeah,
Like that was kind of crazy. But like you know what I'm saying? Like I
yeah.
remember
Holyfield. No, yeah,
that
he had a
like
mindset.
psych like he is a savage.
Yeah,
Like I'm if if you fought Mike Tyson and you lived, you put it on your resume. Like and then I watched this and I was like, this looks like some YouTuber TikTok influencer that's like, you know, I'll write a big enough check with enough zeros that I can like say I fought and beat the Mike Tyson.
yeah,
And it's like you didn't fight the Mike Tyson. You fought Mike Tyson
yeah.
way out of his prime. Anyway, I said that already, but it's like
No, yeah. I mean, it's absolutely true. And I mean, what we saw here, and everyone is saying this too.
like
We're
you should
not,
be
we're
scared.
not we're not boxing connoisseurs here that are saying something extravagant,
Def-
but that wasn't a fight.
no.
He was standing in the middle of the fight. He wasn't doing anything. Clearly, Jake Paul could have knocked him out. What a class act that he didn't. He just tried to play around with him and create a little bit of a show. But to come back to what you were saying a little bit earlier, I mean, he's wearing the knee brace. Um, you can tell in the legs. There's a couple times where he sort of stumbled and was trying to keep himself up because he fell a little bit off balance. His age really showed that fight. It really
Mm,
showed a 50-year-old man with boxing gloves. There's no way he's coming back to the ring. He's recently been saying like he wants to keep going, he wants to fight other people. He's just asking for different paychecks, right?
mhm,
And that's not it. We don't want to see more of you standing in the middle of a boxing ring. And if it was wrong, like if he can actually fight and he does want to get into boxing again and he does want to show that he still has it, too late. That was the time to do it. I don't think any of us should ever watch another Tyson fight like that again. Because one, either he's just collecting paychecks and we're gonna see that again, which is really, you know, a charity at that point, on our patients, um, or um, he held back for that. It was rigged, and um, now he wants to take it serious after he's collected the check. To which, honestly, you don't deserve that now because that was the time to show it, right? That was the time to show that 58-year-old Tyson still has it. At this point, you've just proven that you don't, right? And so don't do you. You're not gonna do another boxing match. You're not. You're done. Um, so he's too old. What we saw was what age can do to you, and yeah, what the rigging that we saw was you can pay for a name and a win, and this is just another. This is another example of what's wrong with boxing, the current state of boxing. I always said this with, Mayweather and some other people. He's choosing his fights. He's creating the rules that he wants. He's picking the people that he wants. It's not a real fight, and that's the way you rack up wins. And when you get enough wins and people want to fight you, you don't have to fight them. You can choose whoever you want. And boxing is broken. It really is right now. And someone needs to fix it. I would fix it if they would come to me. I would essentially turn it into, the way the NBA has seasons. Um, Eventually you get a season champ, you get a champion, then next season it starts over and see if you can do it again. Something akin to that.
Dude.
But
Okay, ground level theology boxing round.
hey,
Boxing match. We have a couple
well, the
rounds.
funny thing is, boxing is actually a ministry. There's a lot of boxing ministries out there that are Christian because that's one way that you can appeal to the urban kids. Take them off the street, teach them to defend themselves, and there's something intense and very intimate to coaching and boxing in which you can instill discipline and life
Self-control.
lessons. And so what you have is you have a kid that is learning a very real skill of him defending himself on the streets while at the same time very much engaged in discipleship in a very pure form through that. So there's actually Christian boxing ministries out there. And Dave, when you and I were at Moody, I remember when we were at the gym, there was a ad for that, which I kind of wanted to be part of, but I was already part of a few things already, and I couldn't make my way out there. But yeah, there's Christian, and actually, like, we can go ahead and dive into the deeper topic now, and maybe end on this question. Sort of already opened the can of worms a little bit, but should Christians even be watching boxing? I mean, Dave, what are you doing watching the Tyson match, man? You little sinner.
I know. I'll be the first to tell you that no respectable person should have watched that fight. I'm just kidding. Christian,
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
true
I'm
after the
just
fact for
sorry.
sure.
Okay, that's oh, that's right. That's right. Okay. On a serious note, that's like I've actually I had that question asked of me. Even just kind of like not like a judgment, like why are you even watching it? But it just
Mhm.
came up where it's like and just like the gears are moving. You're just thinking through. It's like should I have even is is should I have been excited to like watch this? I was looking forward to it. It was hyped up. I know some people they even had like a watch party. Like and it's like
Yeah,
they're just coming together like they would watch the Super Bowl. Like this is a big event. Like this is different. Like let's watch it. It was intriguing. Like should I be intrigued by it as a Christian? Like should I? Is that behavior or an event that I should be a part of or encourage? Two people hurting each other,
yeah,
being violent towards one another. Is it a mockery? Like, is it bad because I'm like making light of something that just because it's accepted culturally, or it's a subculture that because it's a subculture, it's okay. Because we know that that doesn't inherently make something okay
right.
just because it has approval. Like those are things kind of like
Yeah, just
floating
because
through my
something's
mind.
legal doesn't mean it's moral.
Correct, and
Right.
yes, and so like those were things like floating through my mind. Some people were posing it to me as well, like, "Hey, Pastor Dave, like, I watched it. Should I have?" I'm like, "Well, there's no going back now," and I'm like, "But I watched it, and there's no going back now." Uh,
Yeah.
but
Well, let's paint that portrait a little bit more. I mean, you have two people beating their skulls out, right? They are there to intentionally hurt each other to the fullest extent that they're allowed. I
right,
mean,
right,
like how much do we allow this sort of savagery to be watched as Christians? I mean, like where's the limit there? Do we suddenly give people swords and we allow them to start chopping limbs off in the name of sport? Like where do we
Right.
draw the line as Christians here? And should we be participating in such a savage sport as boxing, or is boxing in these sports alike, are they the modern gladiators? And as Christians, should we be watching this?
Mm, mm. Things that make you go, hmm.
Yeah,
Uh, because it is a debate. Because some folks are like that is violent. I wouldn't want my kids watching that. We shouldn't be watching that. It's not self-defense because it's consensual. There's no threat because they're both willing and ready and able. They just think, hey, I don't worry about you hurting me because I'm trying to hurt you more. And so I'll take a couple punches if it means I can land some on you. And I'm here to get paid and recognition. Um, and so, like, if someone had to really nail me down, you're right. It's not table tennis. Okay, you're not watching curling in the Olympics. I understand.
yeah,
Uh, but should we watch football?
right,
Because so you're getting CTE not from a heavy to the face, but from someone else's helmet to your head.
yeah,
Oh, you got blunt force trauma. Um, oh, sure, maybe not from someone slugging you or from a playing football, but because you refused to wear a harness when you were free climbing on a rock wall.
yeah,
And you could say, okay, well, that was maybe you. You should have worn a harness. That's not someone else inflicting pain on you. Sure. But is this violence or is this just a byproduct of the sport of boxing or wrestling or any
yeah,
other type of physical bout or a physical sport in general? Should I stop watching hockey because those hits are gnarly? The guy took a puck to the face and he kept playing. Like,
yeah. I mean,
should I
they
just
lose teeth.
they lose teeth. Should I watch a sport where people lose teeth?
And then, like, yeah, like if that can be a slippery slope. Like, where's the line?
Ha, slippery. That's slick right there.
If a person playing ping pong, if he cramps up, like, hey, should we be participating in things where people can get injured like that?
Yeah,
And pretty soon we're bubble wrapping our sports.
there was the tennis player who was going for a ball, slipped on the court, and fell into some camera equipment and lost eyesight in both of his eyes.
Oh wow, I didn't know about that. That's
Oh, you never.
crazy. No, I
And
didn't know about that.
I'm just saying, like the funny newsreels, the things that you
Yeah,
can see. This was a while ago, but there's just things that happen, bad breaks, people get
yeah,
hurt and fall. Folks, the one guy went bowling. They waxed the floor. He slipped when he was rolling the ball, slipped and cracked his head on the
yeah.
floor, lost his balance. That's not the same thing as boxing. I'm just saying. But are we encouraging violent behavior by watching it?
Hmm.
Are we giving into this culture? And maybe this is a better question. I know I've been literally like a boxer. I've been dancing around, defining like,
Yeah.
is it okay to watch boxing? Uh, and, and the reason why I think it is okay, because I've heard it often compared, oh, you're watching boxing. That's like being a Christian, watching the gladiators in the Colosseum in Rome.
Right.
That you're encouraging brutality uh, and that sort of behavior. And I would say, actually, I think it's okay to watch boxing because it's nothing. Like the gladiators in the Colosseum.
Right.
And you don't have Christians being martyred in between rounds. But
Yeah.
I that's but what you know.
I think I think the misconception is we say modern day gladiators, right? But
Yeah.
what we're not really seeing is that what we're not doing is we're not calling them gladiators. They're not direct comparison because what happened in the Colosseum is people literally died. And that was the purpose of that. I mean, these are boxing matches, not death matches.
Right.
So
It's
there's
not
a
too yeah.
distinct difference. So the term modern day gladiator is really more of an analogy rather than a direct comparison. And when you realize modern day gladiator, if you're going to use that, what you're not saying is that it is that, but rather you're trying to draw some sort of a illustration or analogy to boxing, in that two people are coming together in an arena in a bout. And I think that's as far as we can take it. Yes, they might get hurt, inherent to it, but as we just talked about, I mean, that's sort of a slippery slope. How much hurt is okay in a sport, right? Is and so you can decide that for yourself. I mean, maybe we can apply Christian liberty here and say, hey, that's nothing with too much blood here. Oh, that's perfectly fine. But what we can say is it's not the gladiators. I mean, let's not be hyperbolic here. And two, it's not simple savagery. It's not simple violence. My grandfather. I don't know how many people know this. Maybe some of our viewers know this, but you used to be able to do boxing in high school. It used to be a thing. Now it got taken out. Um, but boxing is a sport, and there's skill to it. There's techniques. There's a technicality to it, very much like a chess match. And for anyone, I've been blessed enough to have done Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So in some sense, I know a lot more about mixed martial arts. And I always thought that was way better than boxing. My brother's way into boxing, doesn't know as much on the mixed martial arts side. But if you ask someone in MMA, mixed martial arts, what they think of boxing, it's like fighting with one of your hands tied behind your back. It's extremely limiting. You're only allowed to use your hands in a very restrictive set of rules as well. So you're telling me that I can't grab you, throw you on the ground, and then start pounding on you. It's like, what do you mean I have to? If I fall, I just get back up. That's not the way it is at all. So there's a very restrictive set of rules in how you're allowed to engage each other. And then even within that, there's a lot of technique. So Mike Tyson, he fights in what is called the peekaboo style. That's a developed style of boxing in which your hands are up and you're bobbing left and right and down and moving a lot as you press into the person, because what you're trying to do is close the gap and get right up next to them so that you can engage with some of these power shots. Um, Now, Mayweather, however, he has something called a Philly shell, and that's where his one hand's up here, one hand's on the side, and his style of boxing makes him very hard to hit, because if you go for this, he can turn and block, but if you go for this side, he can keep the shoulder up, and then the fist rolls off. And so he's very hard to hit, and then he can move around a lot. Those are two completely different styles, and that's just different styles of fighting. When it comes to, a jab, a parry, a right, just a right punch, but then you can have like a right overhand to go over someone's. I mean, you really, the more you engage in understanding boxing, the more you start to realize it's not simple savagery of two people wailing on each other, but actually it's a sport, and there's a lot that's going on there. And I actually, when I when my brother taught me, he would teach people how to box and trained in a boxing gym. trained people in a boxing gym because he was a boxing instructor for a little bit. But he taught me how to do some boxing. And now when I watch boxing matches, I'm actually like right there, like, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, and it's really engaging to me because I see the work that they've put into it and what they're doing, right? And so, um, it's not simple savagery, it's not gladiatorial, but when you really understand it and you actually know what's going on, you really see it's a chess match with a lot of restrictive elements to it. Something a bit more like a gladiator would be UFC, where it's mixed martial arts, where you can bring someone to the ground and wail on them. But even then, I study jujitsu. That is very much a chess match. This person does this, I can do this to counter and put them in a chokehold, and they're tapped out. So it very much is a chess match in that respect too. So um, I don't think we ever really approach today in something that is gladiatorial in that respect. And so I would say, if you feel that way, either you just don't like the sight of blood, that's okay, don't watch it, or you simply don't know enough about the sport to really assess what's going on. All you're seeing is, as an outsider's perspective, all you're seeing is two people throwing fists at each other, and you don't understand the technique that they've tried to learn, the fight camps that they've gone into, the work that they've put in to really kind of get that muscle memory so that in the moment they could bring all of this stuff out. You're really missing all of the techniques. And that is akin to saying, I don't like tennis matches because all it is them trying to whack a tennis ball as hard as they can, right? No, even in their serves, there's so much technique of the way that they put it up, the way that the rack is facing when they hit the ball to serve is almost like a centimeter off. They miss the ball because they have to put so much spin on it that it just speeds right in. And so there's just so much technique that goes on that's being missed by people from an outside perspective that is translated to just sheer brutality. So that's sort of that's sort of what I'm saying to all of this. Dave, did you want to add anything?
Well, you know, I watched Mike Tyson. There was another. Uh, I remember, I did fellowship with Christian athletes in high school, and one of my favorite people to actually like, when you're trying to look up, think of people that you can look up to, role models, mentors. I can't tell you how many illustrations uh, I have used, like boxing metaphors.
Yeah.
Like one illustration: the work of sanctification is the Lord getting you down to your fighting weight.
Yeah.
Like that's an illustration. I can't tell you how many times I quoted and used an example. Manny Pacquiao. He's
Oh
now
man.
senator of the Philippines. Dude,
Yep.
Manny Pacquiao
I love him.
was, dude, he was my guy. And it was such a big deal because, I mean, he had a clear mission all the time. I got Fellowship of Christian Athlete magazine, and he had articles in it, like interviews with him. Um, he fought in 5 different weight classes. That is so ridiculous. That's so hard to do. But he's like, I just want to let everybody know that there's a God who can raise people from nothing into something, and that's me. I came from nothing, and he made me something because I have Jesus. He then even got backlash because in 2016, which is why I loved it. Uh, he got backlash from LGBT people because he's like, I think marriage is between a man and a woman. You know what I mean? Like he was very uh, straightforward in what he thought and what he believed. Uh, and it's like, oh, how can someone like, and you might even ask yourself, well, how does that work? Like, Lord, this man has a bloody face, and I did it for your glory.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, well, I have a bloody face too, Lord. you know. Um, but it all like, yeah, I remember, he's a world champion, and I quoted from him. I used him as an example, like the fact that he became a senator, just like little things like that, uh,
Yeah.
was so special. And there's like obviously other people, like he's not the only Christian boxer, he's not the only Christian athlete. I
Oh
know
yeah.
that. But is it like
I'm
one of those
thinking
things
of
where
I'm
like
thinking of someone also who was a heavyweight. He went I don't know how many, and like he was undefeated for a very long time. I think his most recent one was his first loss, and it was I think at like 50-1 or something. I can't remember.
gosh,
It was a lot. It might have been 48-1. Um, but he was actually named after Mike Tyson. His name's Tyson Fury.
yeah,
Unapologetically Christian. Like he will go to the mic and say, "I'm just here to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ." I mean, just right up front. So you have boxers that are Christian and are not afraid to make that the first thing that they say, and some of them are the dominant forces. And like I said,
they don't pull
Tyson
punches.
Fury.
They don't pull gospel punches.
Yeah, but we actually have a recent one. Dave, do you want to introduce the clip?
Oh, heck yeah. Well, this is more up your alley, dude. You and your tricky triangles. Um, yeah,
True.
mixed martial arts. It's not my forte. I mean, see, like when I grew up, if I saw Joe Rogan, it was on Fear Factor, not for MMA. Okay.
True.
Um, but yeah, John Jones, a
John Bone Jones.
recent champion. I think I forget his weight class, but the dude, gnarly, savage. So I want to fight with him, not against him.
Yeah.
Or sorry, I want to fight for him, but not with him or against
Yeah.
him. Uh, but he's like the dude's like, oh, but he's on our team. Okay, I feel safe. Like, let's go. Uh, John Jones, uh, what a beast. But let me tell you, has used he has used his platform as an MMA fighter in UFC to reach people that I might not be able to reach as a pastor because I don't fight MMA. But he's using his platform to give Christ all of the glory, and to make him known. And and he just recently won a belt.
Yeah.
I think actually
I
his fight might have been just before, or just after the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight.
It was the day after. I
Yeah,
can't remember whether it was a title defense fight. So he might have just
might have just
won
kept
and
his
retained
belt.
his
Yeah,
yeah,
but
but
still, you gotta win to keep it.
yeah, I didn't keep up with this one because the Tyson fight was the day before. So you got to
Right.
choose your battles, and it's always the one that's free, right?
It's true. It's true.
uh, yeah. So let's go ahead
But
and
they
look
have
at this clip.
yeah.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and look at this clip real quick. Oh, I gotta bring it up on my end. Sorry, folks. And here we go.
And so happy, I want to acknowledge Jesus Christ. I tell you what, man, I cannot take credit for a gift like this, man. I really owe it all to him. And I know that there's millions of people around the world watching right now. And I just want to let you guys know that Jesus loves you so much. That's all I'll say about that.
All right. Man, that's amazing. We have people like that are really proclaiming the name of Jesus. And one thing I wanted to highlight about this is he seems in good spirits. Um, he doesn't seem like someone who barely survived a gladiator match. And that's another thing. When both of those people, they're coming up to the fight, a way to sell it is to have false anger at them. So very often they'll talk trash and all this other stuff, but the moment that that final bell rings or the other person is knocked out, they are hugging each other, they're congratulating each other, and
Good
they're
game.
saying well done. And their smiles too. I don't know how many times I've seen a bloody match where both of their faces are bloody and
Yeah.
they're smiling and you're like, someone give that man a towel.
Like how? Like
Yeah,
I'd be like my
and they're just
face is
happy
burning.
because it's just a sport. I mean, they know, yeah, they had to sell the tickets, so it's better when you're rivals. But at the end of the day, you both tried your best. You both put what you've been training on all this time, and and it's done. You guys can high five each other now. And that's the way it is. And at the end of it, you have someone like this pro guy, John Bones Jones, and he wins, and with smiles, he's there to proclaim Jesus.
that he gave me this gift.
Yep.
He says it's a gift. And people are like, "What? What gift? All you did was give that other guy a reason to go to the hospital. What gift?" you know? Um, but no, he's
Well,
saying, "No, the Lord's given me a body, he's given me hands, give me the opportunity to train and to get into physical shape and to be in a condition to be able to do this to make a living and have a platform to make his name known because it's not just people in America watching. They're listening and they see me and they're going to hear his name. And that is just so profound. Like I said, he's reaching people that you can't reach. I even think of Kevin James, the actor Kevin James.
yeah.
He's a Christian. He's used his platform to, and all the movies that he does in, if it's not explicitly Christian, have you ever seen his characters cuss? They're not. He's not derogatory towards women. He doesn't go out of his way to have gratuitous humor or anything. And he actually he came out with a movie featuring a POD song. Here comes the
Oh
boom.
yeah. That's a good
Where he
movie.
where
That's a wholesome
where
movie.
he talked about how on Joe Rogan he fasted for 40 days like Jesus to get
Oh, no kidding.
to lose weight and to get in shape for the role. And he plays a well, he does play a cool teacher, but he plays a school teacher who is trying to raise money for their school dance or fundraiser, and he does mixed martial arts on the side. And
Yeah.
there's even a scene where they are praying together before he goes for this title fight.
Yeah.
And I love it. I was like, "Hey, like look at this." Cuz it's like obviously it's relative, right? It's like, "Lord, help us stay safe." Cuz it's like we're about to hurt each other, like there's room for injury more than another, sport.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you
Actually,
pray for soldiers before they go into war? Like, are they savages? Are they ungodly men? Like, if they're like, oh, how dare they go fight and kill? And that's actual killing, you know, not murder, but actual killing. Someone will actually die.
right.
Fighting, not so much.
Yeah. And there's quite a few awesome boxing movies. I'm not gonna say Rocky, but like I really one of my favorites is Cinderella Man.
Dude,
And that's
also pro.
yeah, he does a phenomenal
Classic.
job of a historical boxer through the Great Depression, and I love that because I think that's a man's movie where we
Oh,
really get to see a man try his best to provide for his family uh, in the hardest time. Um, you see a little bit of faith in there. He sort of struggles with it and stuff, and but I think the best faith-based one too, we have one out there, and I suggest everyone watch this one. It's awesome. Is oh, I forgot what the title of it, but it's about George Foreman, and I think it might
oh
be just
yeah.
called Foreman or I forget. Yeah, it might
Oh,
just be called that. But
I'm
you
glad
can
you
look.
brought up George Foreman because everyone thinks of him for the grill, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah, are
he's
you gonna look up the what it is? Because it's a phenomenal movie, guys. I really do recommend you go out and watch this one. Faith-based, it will strengthen you because he is a
oh
Christian.
yeah,
He was a
um,
preacher.
big George Foreman.
Oh, okay, there it is. Big George Foreman.
Hmm.
Phenomenal movie. Um, yeah, I recommend that one. But we got some heavy hitters there.
Get it?
Yeah, so definitely go out, watch that. I mean, even if you don't like boxing, go watch that one because that one will go out and encourage you. It's an awesome movie. I watched it with my wife and we both really enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, uh, I think I think there's a lot to these sports that is really I think it's just misunderstood. Um, and I think the more that we understand it, the more we can actually enjoy it. Um, there's I'm glad that this conversation from Tyson and Paul was able to spark the deeper conversation of how we should be interacting with these quote unquote violent sports, right, as Christians. And that's honestly why we wanted to tackle this question for you, because it was so relevant to the times. And every single time boxing comes up and there's a new famous person who's going to fight this famous person, the question always comes up, should I even be watching this? And so Dave and I we knew, hey, this is something we got to talk about here right off the back of Tyson and Paul fighting. And so we hope that this was real helpful and informative for you guys. You know, we hope that you're coming away from this with a better understanding and even more of the realm in which Christians are in. I mean, we got to be populating these areas, even boxing, right? So yeah, I hope you really enjoyed this. Don't forget to don't forget to share this with any family or friends. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you get notified every Wednesday at 5 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time, when a new episode drops, so you never miss one, because season 3 is action-packed and you don't want to miss an episode. So be sure to be tuning in every week. We enjoy it. We love talking to you about all this stuff. Don't forget to comment if you want as well. Let us know who you thought was going to win the Tyson or Paul fight, or if you knew it was rigged or whatever. Just lay that down in the comment section, because I really do want to know what you guys thought. And with all that being said, we will see you in the next episode. See ya.